Huh. Is there? I'm forgetting because it was so long ago I read the book. Is there like an equivalent of a notice for probably investigation
Uh,
or notice for spot hidden or things like that?
Hold on.
Thought it was a wits and
Yeah, it
Ah,
investigation or
the
something.
the utility of this system is if it makes more sense for two very um, different skills to be added together, I can call for those.
mm-hmm.
Like, I need a sheet in front of me. Uh, like if you're out in the woods and you need to find food, then I would say probably an investigation and a survival roll. You wouldn't roll them
Mm-hmm.
separately; you would roll them together, and you can do that on the sheet by toggling the two skills. Because if you mouse over it and click on it, you toggle it, and then you toggle the second one, and then you can go up
Okay.
to simple roll on the dice roller at the top, and it will roll those two skills.
Okay. Is there a way specialty is +1? Is there a way to mark having specialty?
You just write it down in the notes on the bottom right. Yeah,
Well, for
specializations.
the when you do the roll.
There's a modifier when you make the roll. It's
Ah,
gonna
okay.
pop up a window.
Okay. Cool. All right, dice.
Simple roll did not. Simple roll asked me for dice pools.
Didn't it? Should.
And I can only select one skill at a time.
Make sure you don't have another skill already.
Use sheet roll, click click academics, say
Oh,
brawl.
all right.
It
Maybe
unselects them.
maybe I lied. You can only click
I
one.
think you just do a simple roll and add them together.
I put two at a time.
Maybe because I have it popped
Or,
out, can you only do it
or
when it's
No,
in?
it might not be a simple roll.
I have it popped out too.
Hmm. So I'm on. I should say I got to be on simple.
Oh,
I
I'm
am
sorry.
simple.
An attribute and a skill. Sorry, attribute and a skill.
Oh, okay, okay. But you do that as a sheet roll, right? Not a simple roll.
Either or, I think.
Ah, okay.
The
Ah,
simple
yes.
roll asks you how many dice you
Yeah,
have.
there's gonna be some rolling. I mean, some learning involved.
Yeah, no, I'm not giving you crap about it.
Yeah, no, I know you're not.
There we go.
Intelligence and Brawl.
I imagine
Interesting combo.
if we want to do the skill two skills, we just take how many dots we have in it and do a simple roll and add it together. That's all. Should it come up?
Am I remembering correctly, or can you not actually do a roll of two skills? It has to be two attributes or an attribute and a skill.
I
I
think
think that's
most of
probably
them are
right.
attribute and skill, but
Uh,
I think like Jamie's saying, he can choose to let us do more of them.
Yeah, I can change up the
hmm,
combination
okay.
depending on if a particular attribute or skill is more relevant than something else.
Mhm. Okay.
But I doubt you'll be rolling strength and say politics, unless you're Arnold. I will become governor of California. Strength and politics.
Popping this back out. Go over here.
I kind of like that utility. In the later Shadowrun editions, they have a similar skill setup where you're rolling a number of dice equal to the controlling attribute and the skill.
Yep.
Mm.
Took me a while to get back used to 3 because I had done a little bit of 5.
Yeah, I still like 3,
Yeah,
but there are some aspects of the later rules that I do enjoy.
yeah, I remember Legend of Five Rings similarly, second edition. Let's see, you rolled number of dice equal to the
Controlling
skill,
attribute
but
and the
kept
skill.
number of dice equal
Yep.
to the skill or
Took me a
the
while to get back
attribute.
used to
So
3
if you
because I
didn't
had done a
have the
little bit of
skill,
5.
having a high attribute
I
didn't
still
help.
like
Yeah,
but
which really sucked.
there are
But
some aspects.
then later on, they just said you add the two and how many you roll. Should definitely prefer.
All right, I need to stop looking at Jim's character.
Oh, he's pretty.
No, Brian's character is pretty.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Where's that
Your
from?
character is mean looking.
Where's that from, Brian?
I found it on the internet. I have no idea.
No.
Did a search for modern male vampire, and that was one of the images.
He's probably from one of those shows that I've never
Probably
watched.
from Twilight or something.
Yeah, he
Twilight?
looks like one of those Twilight. people.
Maybe. I was gonna say Vampire Diaries or True Blood.
How could it be?
No, it can't be True Blood.
I don't know. I've never watched True Blood, so
I've seen the first 2 or 3 seasons.
Looks
He
a
doesn't.
bit-
He doesn't look dirty enough to be True Blood.
True Blood's gritty.
More like raunchy, nasty.
Oh, so lowbrow vampires.
Yeah, kind of.
They're all horny and do drugs.
They're all oversexed.
And sleeping
Which
with.
then again is kind of perfect for my character.
And
He might be. I don't even know his name. I just know I've seen a clip of him laughing in a hilarious way. This one guy in Twilight who does this
Oh.
hilarious laugh.
I know who you're talking about. I've seen that clip too. That's the guy that played the werewolf in Underworld. Leader of the werewolves. Michael Sheen, I think his name is.
not Michael Sarah.
No, his last name was Sheen or something like that. Michael Cera, isn't that the guy from Superbad?
Yes.
Yeah, the real nerdy guy.
Yeah, no, definitely not him.
This
Oh.
hilarious laugh.
I know who you're talking about.
All right. Chris, you finishing up your character?
Um, other than equipment, should be finished.
I don't even have equipment on. Just natural, baby.
Pick
Bring it
it
in
up.
the breeze.
Pick it up as you go along.
I guess so.
Do any of you have the resource merit, or is it just Chris?
Just Chris.
Just 1 point.
Just Chris.
Honestly, I just never even thought about it as a thing because this game doesn't seem to be resource driven for the most part. So
It's like when you
It is until
Weapons
you
and-
want to get your hands on something that normally you wouldn't be able to.
right.
Though you
Um.
kind of need to have it pretty high to do that.
Like a chainsaw. You want to get a hold of a chainsaw? Come on now. You think they sell them on every street corner?
I had to see if my
Maybe.
health point stayed up for my giant merit or not.
They should. It should be your stamina plus your size, which I think normal
It's a
size
5.
is a 3, and I think you get plus something for giant.
Yeah, my size was supposed to be higher.
Does everyone understand the way damage works in this game?
I think so, yeah.
The
I think I do
book
okay, but I don't.
kind of makes it overly complicated. I think you basically have this health bar, which is based on what I just told Jim, and you have three types of damage. You have bashing, lethal, and aggravated, and they all kind of add up onto this one
Oh
health chart.
yeah.
So that if you have bashing and then you take a lethal, it pushes your bashing to the right. So you just, if you click on a health bar, you're going to get a slash. If you click on it again, you're going to get an X. And if you click on it a third time, you're going to get an asterisk. So that represents the bashing, lethal, and aggravated. Now, you guys as vampires, if you get shot with a gun, normally that's lethal to anyone else. But for you, you take bashing damage.
Mhm.
Those of you who are familiar with Shadowrun can kind of think of bashing as stun damage, lethal as physical damage, and aggravated as like overflow or like, oh no, like shit's really happening.
Okay.
Chris, you got your specializations?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
So the one
All
thing for equipment I'm thinking about, my resources is only one, and this is a cost of two, but would I be able to get a sword cane?
Sure. I will give you a sword cane.
No, actually, should I
Are
be?
you
Sword
gonna
canes are cool.
Are you gonna walk with a limp, or are you just gonna have a fancy sword cane?
Well, maybe I shouldn't to start with. Um,
Also, when you make weapon attacks, it has a radial button. So if you click the whatever attack you're using and then go up to the dice roller and roll the attack roll, it will roll that particular attack.
Oh, roll 20. Why can't you just do what you're supposed to?
What's it not doing?
It just likes to freeze up after I edit a character. The character sheet just stays white and never does anything.
Oh, well, that might be because I was
Makes me sad. You
I'm
son of
in
a
your
bitch.
characters.
I was gonna see. I wanted to look up size. What did you say you thought size started at?
I thought I started at 3, but I will look it up right now.
So I think it must be 5 because that's what it started the things at, and that's what I should add to because that'll increase my health. So
Yes, size 5 is the average person. It's your size plus your stamina. And if you look at giant or whatever you have, I think it'll tell you
plus
what,
Y, 1 for size.
plus
Yeah.
1 for size, so it's 6 plus stamina for you. You are a big boy.
But yeah, I'm kind of pretty.
So when you take damage, you don't suffer penalties until you get to the last 3 boxes. And it doesn't matter what type of damage hits those boxes, you still suffer that penalty. So if you take some bashing and then take a lethal, which pushes your bashing over into those squares, you do suffer a penalty. If that makes sense. It should make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's incredible. I think the damage is incredibly simple, but I think the way they describe it makes it sound difficult.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't click the 5th box on the attributes.
Okay. Do you need a 5th box?
No, no, I was just trying to test it to make my health move. So I'm trying to figure out how to do it properly because I can't seem to change size. And I noticed that because they're going under, you can't click them.
That's okay. If you go to the right of the fourth box,
Oh, it's got the thing there. Okay, I
yeah,
see.
I now I can't unclick it.
What you doing on my
There we go.
strength?
Yeah, I did it on your
Yeah.
strength.
Okay.
Yeah, it's invisible, kind of. All right.
Okay, yeah, I just got a Bowie knife.
Bowie knife. All right. Did you add it to your character sheet?
Yes.
How about a med kit? Did you add a med kit to your character sheet? This seems like something
I
your
should
character
have.
would have.
Yeah. Maybe I should have given more of a description of my sire if I should do that, but so a bit of a spoiler, my sire is actually my Mask of the Red Death character,
Okay.
Nice.
I'll have
if the
to.
name seems familiar.
I will have to converse with Jeremy to see some more about that.
Maybe she could give you her sword cane.
So yeah, she actually does have a sword cane and
I know.
has a skill in bows and basically is an archaeologist and trained nurse.
Ah. All right. So page 3 of your character sheet has a place for equipment.
Okay.
But generally, this is not a equipment heavy game, so
Right.
there will be no gear charts,
Mhm.
even though there are a plethora of weapons in which to kill you with.
Do you use
Including
resources
cane.
like you do? You know, you basically say, "Oh yeah, just roll your resources to see if you have it."
Kinda. Um,
That's what.
I mean, you can buy stuff as long as it's under your. The cost is under your resource, but if you like already have it, you mean?
Yeah, like to say, "Oh yeah, I've got a med kit on me." Okay, yeah, your resources would cover that. Okay, that kind of thing, so that it didn't slow things down.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the way it was. I was asking.
First game or two is going to be a lot of getting back into this, but as long as we're doing it.
Yeah,
Jeez. Do
they don't let you.
now?
They don't let you change the size. So I really do have to do it on the health. They don't. They don't want you to be a giant. That's what it comes down to.
You probably figured no one wants to use the giant.
What's this?
Man, they have detailed stuff on these weapons.
Yeah, it's basically a GM call. I mean, you could technically roll it, but it says you can afford on the spot like one or two items equal to your resource dots. So it's
Well,
more,
I could afford a compact car.
you want a compact car?
Though I would guess it sounds like resources is kind of current disposable income, and
And
I would
well,
think we
it's
might have
disposable
cars.
income and it's assets.
Right, yeah. Sailboats.
There we go, sailboats. He's becoming a pirate, guys.
Jesus, Chris. I forbid you from having a boat.
Oh, but I want a yacht. A racing yacht.
Can you afford how many dots is a racing yacht?
5.
You cannot afford a racing yacht with your resources of 1.
Yes, I know. Someday.
Just enthrall a rich mortal that has one and make him drive you around everywhere.
Good point.
Jim,
What?
don't give him ideas. All right. Anyone else have any questions or character concerns or?
Not at the moment.
I don't see medical kits or first aid kits or anything here, but they have survival kits.
Well, and in general, I think if I remember correctly, you can just lick the person who's bleeding and stop them from bleeding. So they probably don't, think that you'll need bandages.
That's for vampire, but for everyday normal people.
What's that?
For everyday normal people.
I thought that when you licked a mortal's wound, it heals it.
That is true, but not every character is a vampire.
Oh, that's right. World of Darkness book, not the vampire book.
Right.
Got it. I know what you're saying.
There's no gear in the
Sorry.
vampire book.
Hey, I think, if Chris is going to have a medical kit, then I should have a tractor that I just drive around the city. Because, as a farmer.
At night, and drive a tractor around the city. All right.
He is the night farmer.
Sure.
Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Right.
I had to get it out.
Yeah, all right.
And then we mount a machine gun on it.
No machine guns. This is not Shadowrun. You guys.
Yeah, I need to get it through my head. Just because it's in the armory book doesn't mean you should have it.
Pretty good rule to keep in mind.
Oh, I gotta mute the damn Discord.
Oh, we're in 2004?
Yep. You're in
Okay.
2004. You're in the past.
We're in Hurricane
Server.
Katrina times.
Mute.
Yeah, you're in the before times, before the COVID. Perhaps
Yeah.
Chris's character is the cause of the COVID.
Before the pandemic, that wouldn't go away because people wouldn't get vaccinated because it was their right not to.
If you wrap the vaccine in cheese, you might get more people to, take it.
Wrap it in a McDonald's hamburger.
Here's your coupon for a free hamburger at
Okay.
McDonald's.
Or get fat, lazy Americans to eat it.
Okay, yeah, I think
Wait a minute. Double Meat Palace. Brian, Double Meat Palace. What was the secret of the burgers in the Double Meat Palace?
It's a double meat palace.
Buffy.
Oh God.
Buffyverse.
I didn't
So
watch
It was
Don't
human
watch
meat. It was human meat. She served human meat and didn't know it.
People. I've seen that show forever.
All right. Any other questions?
none that are probably relevant at the moment, but you'll be seeing lots of
All right,
vampire
that's fair.
physiology
That's fair.
questions.
We'll be answering questions as we go.
I fully expect to have questions as they come up.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. All right. So we are going to begin our little game of vampire with the three of you. Well, we're gonna actually start with the two of you. We're gonna start with Marcel, and they're gonna make me go into the journal because you guys won't change your thing like a good boy, like Brian.
What I did?
You changed your chat name to your character name.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I tried to do that.
what a jerk. Do you want our on
No,
there
no,
too or
no, I
something?
don't want that. Well, not yet anyway. But your
Okay.
character name would be lovely.
I did. I'm so sorry.
Don't be a Chris Pitts.
So sorry.
I'll call people out till the day I die. All right. So we're gonna start with Marcel and Rachel, who are waking up from their daily daytime nap. It has a word. I can't remember what it is.
Flower phase.
The slumbering.
The slumbering. Sure. We're going to start with Marcel. You wake up in your sire's apartment several hours after, well, all right, maybe an hour or two after sundown, to your sire passionately knocking or rapping their knuckles on your forehead. Passionately.
On my forehead.
Yep, on your forehead. They're just kind of going knock 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 knock. Are you awake? Knock 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 knock.
What is it?
Wake up, pretty
What?
boy.
Yes. What is it?
You have a meeting. I am to bring you. There is a session of court that the prince is holding tonight, and he has asked for your presence.
Oh, why is this?
Why? I don't know why. I do what I'm told, and since I'm your sire, I will bring you.
Well, I'm not going to resist.
Well, I wouldn't suggest you resist. I mean, it throws a crimp in my plans too, because I plan on going out hunting tonight, and now I've got to attend court and drag you along. So you're not the only one that this is going to cramp their style.
Okay. Well,
So-
we must.
And I suggest you be on your best behavior. I don't know.
Of course.
You haven't met the prince before, but court usually has its own etiquette that I suggest you follow. And if you don't know what the etiquette is, I suggest you keep quiet.
Right. What do I know about etiquette? Probably not much in regards to court. No, it doesn't look like it.
All right.
I have 2 points to socialize. I don't know if that helps. Probably not.
You've probably been to court once or twice. You may have not. You may have seen the prince once, but he definitely has not talked to you personally. Mostly,
Okay.
it is a very boring occasion where a bunch of a bunch of people stand in a room and go on about different affairs going on in the city. Not the sexual kind of affairs, so it's very boring to you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, when you're prince, that'll change.
Sure. All right, so we go to Rachel. Rachel, you're waking up from your slumbering. Unlike Marcel, I'm gonna ask you, how do you normally slumber during the day?
Hmm. Good question. Probably a secure basement of some sort. I'm guessing my sire has a good haven set up at
Yep,
this point.
your sire has a pretty good haven. It's a pretty well-to-do house that is has its own little plot of land. It's very close to other houses in the neighborhood, but it's disconnected. It's not like a row of buildings. It's its own thing.
Mhm.
And she's allowed you to set up a area in the basement, which I'm guessing, turned into kind of uh, a lab slash living space.
Mhm. Yeah, I've probably set up a sleeping bag or something that I can, maybe actually a body bag that I've set up on a medical table that I just
Yeah.
completely cover up and sleep in.
Okay, that's fair. You've noticed in your undeath that temperature doesn't seem to bother you as much. So the difference between a sleeping bag and an actual body bag doesn't, other than the texture of the bag itself, doesn't seem to really bother you all that much.
Mhm. Yeah, just as long as it's sunproof.
Yeah, it's sunproof. Um, I'm guessing all the windows in the basement have. Well, this is New Orleans. There isn't really such a thing as a basement in New Orleans.
Mm, good point.
Uh, I'm gonna guess. Oh no, I'm not gonna guess. I'm gonna say uh, that you are given a section of the house that used to be um, like servants' quarters.
Mm, okay,
Like the house is
seems
pretty
fitting.
ancient. It's probably been here since the 1800s. So
Hmm.
there's lots of rooms. So you probably have a room to yourself, and then another room that used to be another bedroom, but you've kind of set it up and spread your medical stuff out in. Of course, all the windows are heavily curtained and even blocked in some fashion.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, sounds good.
All right, so you
So
wake
am
up.
I woken up or
You're
do I
woken up
wake up?
in your body bag ish thing. Uh,
Mm,
now I'm trying. Now I
yes,
gotta role
this is
play your
fun.
character, your other character, not knowing anything about your other character. All right, so I'm gonna come up with a personality.
Or should
Uh,
I? Or
no, I will. Uh,
not
so
surprisingly, she's a crazy cat lady.
you're waking up by a cat. You are waking up by a cat who is kind of licking your neck, like not
Mm.
biting your neck, but just licking it. And it's somehow crawled inside the body bag with you.
Hmm. What are you doing here? Thought you didn't like me. Oh, do I taste good? Do it taste good? You looking for
Meow,
food?
meow.
Well, I'll try to pet the cat.
It ignores your petting and continues to lick your skin.
Well, guess that's an improvement, maybe. Um, well, I guess I better get up, rise and shine, and whatever the hell these vampires say. See what needs to be done.
All right, you get up out of your body
I
bag
guess I'll get out of the body bag after
into
petting the cat a bit.
into the darkened room, and your sire wanders by, and she says, "I just got a messenger that
Oh,
says that you are expected at court tonight."
oh, Fort,
You were
am I
asked
in
for.
trouble?
I don't believe so.
There's a trial?
Not that kind of court.
Oh, oh yeah, the them vampire court thing, right?
Yes. So, I know you're new, and I'm your sire, and I should be teaching you in these things. To put it academically, vampire society is a little medieval.
It sounds that way.
So, expect all the pomp and circumstance of a medieval royal court. Not an actual law and order kind of court.
Regular court sounds better at this point.
I would agree, because the prince's attention is not something most vampires would would welcome, unless you're trying to climb the ranks, so to speak.
Well, that's not my plan, not currently. Do you know what he wants?
I do not, but I am sure we'll find out when we go.
Oh,
You have about an hour, so whatever you're going to do, I would suggest dressing well.
well, all right then. Guess I'll. Whoa, what was that video? Anyway, do I actually have any nice clothes other than maybe my doctor's coat and stuff?
I don't know. You have you have basic stuff. So unless it's out of the ordinary, like fancy, and you haven't written it down or mentioned it already, you don't have it.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll probably just go with the doctor's lab coat sort of thing, because I probably didn't think to bring anything fancier.
Okay, fair enough.
Great. Is this gonna be enough, or are they expecting like old 18th century crazy wigs and coats and shit?
No, let come upstairs. Come up to my bedroom. I'll dress you.
That's probably for the best.
She brings you upstairs, and she goes through her closet, and she dresses you in kind of like a, not quite, I don't want to say pantsuit, because when I say pantsuit, the first thing I think of is like Hillary Clinton or something. Some kind of weird. It's basically, it's very suit based,
Mm.
but it's a little more high class than your doctor's coat.
Hmm. How much cat hair does it have on it?
A ton. Which she pulls out a lint brush and she rolls it over you furiously.
I see they've been in here as well. Well, that's fine.
Yes, I love my cats.
Yeah, they're nice. They're nice when
One
they don't
day I
try to
might
eat
even
me.
teach you how to make them more domesticated.
Well, that'd be appreciated. At least someone who might understand me or might not mind me.
Well,
All right. Well, this seem all right to you then?
you kind of have to make
Yes,
them.
sir.
You kind of have to make them undead.
Oh, I see. I guess.
Make them Hellcats, so to speak.
I suppose that's reasonable. Well, then I suppose I'm ready. No breakfast to get, or are we all? I
You,
want to say fed up.
yeah, no, you're
Full
topped off
on vitae.
on vitality or not vitality, vitriol or whatever,
Okay.
however you pronounce it.
Okay. So
Vitae, right? Is that
10, I
it?
guess, is the max, or
It is based on your.
right.
Oh, this character
Dang it,
doesn't have it.
where is that? If I'm remembering right, it's 10 for a blood potency 1.
Vitae, Vitri, or
Vitae. Yeah.
One of those words nobody ever actually says aloud.
right, right.
Yeah, I think it's kind of archaic.
Vitae.
Vitae? No,
That's what
I don't
the
think. I don't think it's
things
Vitae.
say.
That's what it says.
And then Vitae.
Vitae.
And then
Vitier?
Vitae.
Vitae. Okay. I'm not a
I don't
professional.
know. I'm going by Merriam-Webster.
They're saying it's Vitae.
Vitae.
No, I don't think it's Vitae.
Vitae.
It doesn't look like Vitae.
And then there's a Vitae for one of them.
Vitae.
They've got 3 pronunciations: Vitae or Vitae.
I'm just gonna go with Vite.
I'm sure done.
Yes. Yes.
I always thought it was Vitae.
Vitae.
I mean, yeah.
Vitae.
But
You gonna make it fancy? Vitae. All right. You don't need to feed on any blood. You're not low or anything. If that's
Okay.
what your concern is.
Okay.
And any food or drink you consume is merely like habit, like
And then you end up vomiting it up.
yep. I mean, if you really like the taste of breakfast. Anyways,
Here is a question I do have. So, I think you have to do that blush of life thing to be able to absorb things like nicotine or drugs or things like that. I figure my character was kind of into the legal stimulants of smoking and caffeine. Do you carry over any chemical dependencies or addictions into on life, or
not unless you buy them.
okay,
Oh,
You can get.
interesting.
There is. There are flaws. I thought. I mean, you can pick up flaws. That's something that you should have addressed in character generation.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, technically it could carry over, but like you wouldn't. Yeah, it. No. We can discuss that at a game.
Okay. Okay, yeah, well, I guess I'm ready then.
All right.
Off to
So
this court then.
both of you, Marcel and Rachel, are brought to what is known as the Garden District. Or actually, no. The Art District of the city. Which used to be. Actually, I'll bring you over to this map. The Arts District of the city, which used to be a collection of warehouses all the way up until the turn of the 20th century, where more substantial dock facilities were relocated to better suiting areas. So there are a lot of empty buildings in this area, which were easily or cheaply purchased and turned into lots of art galleries and various other businesses that required large space. So tonight's festivities is taking place in an art gallery. You know, all of you know that. Well, all of you except for David know that the court isn't always held in the same place. It's usually held at a place at the whim of the prince. So there isn't a centralized like court per se, or
And is
centralized
that for security reasons?
kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, so you go to this art gallery, which is closed because it's after hours, and you're led in, and you can see that it appears to be having a showing of some type. But as each of you walk into the building, minus David, you get the feeling or the hunter's sense that most of the people that are in the building are also fellow vampires. It's kind of a supernatural sense that you have. And they're all kind of discussing. I mean, some of them are actually looking at the art, and others are looking at other groups of vampires and kind of like, oh my god, did you see what they're wearing? Oh, they're so low rent vampires. That kind of social talk. But you're led through this crowd, and it's not a very big crowd by any means. We're talking about maybe like more than half a dozen, but less than a dozen, so probably like 9 or 10 individuals.
Okay.
And you are led upstairs into a loft area that is much wider than the downstairs. You can see that there are several sculptures and painting art pieces on the wall. You can see that at one end of the room, a makeshift chair / throne has been set up. It's, I wouldn't say a throne per se, but I'm trying to describe it. It's kind of like a small raised platform. It's probably only about 4 or 5 inches higher than the normal floor. And then on that platform is a large chair, a large armed chair. And sitting in that chair is Augusto Vidal.
Augusto Vidal.
Which you should be getting a thing right about now. He is
he's
a very refined gentleman with a goatee. Spanish of blood. So his skin is a little olive, darker than white. And he's talking to one of his advisors. And not that guy. That guy? No, not that guy. No, yeah, this guy. When you notice Rachel and Marcel, uh, you kind of notice each other, being of the same, being part of the Ordo Draco. Uh, you are aware of each other. I don't know. You can form your own opinions of each other, but you know each other by name.
We've probably met before.
Yes.
Okay.
Give Rachel a nod.
Yeah. Same.
When both groups, you and Rachel and Marcel's, you two, and then your sires, are approached by another gentleman whose name is Philip, who is dressed in a like a southern gentleman suit, so to say, and he says, "Bobby." No, he doesn't say Bobby. He kind of calmly walks up to you, to your sires, and he said pleasantly, he says, I'm so glad that you have arrived and you could make it tonight." He says that even though knowing that it really wasn't an option.
Right.
The prince has some business that he wishes to, and he's not addressing either of you two. He's addressing your sires. He has some business that he wishes your children to attend to. Marcel, you know this Philip guy. He is the court's essential. Basically, he's the guy. He's the guy that makes sure everything orderly gets done. Business is attended to. He's kind of like the business side of the court, where everyone else is kind of just socializing and networking. He's here to make sure that business, the what needs to get done gets done.
Right. Okay.
Yes. So I'm surprised that the prince even knew your children by name, but apparently he has been. And he doesn't pause. This is Jamie. He has been aware of them for some time now. Your sires look at each other, and they couldn't. Both of your sires couldn't be more opposite. In fact, I'm going to say that they probably don't like each other.
Okay.
Being wildly that opposite.
Right.
One being very more academic, and one being very more hedonistic.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking to see if my sire is kind of indicating I should respond or just stay quiet here.
She isn't. She's not giving you any signal. She's just kind of looking past Philip and seeing if Vidal has is noticing your group at all. Philip turns to you two. You are Marcel. Is that correct? Marcel LaChance, I believe.
Yeah, that's me.
How is Unlife treating you?
Oh, pretty well overall, I think. Could be much worse, right?
You are correct. And you are Rachel, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I hear you were a doctor.
Yes. Should have looked this up. Surgeon at a local hospital, but yes.
Oh yes, most unfortunate. I mean, you have to give up your career, but you know, uh, these are the choices you make,
I'll certainly learn more this way.
and you'll have time to learn.
True.
Well, if you don't mind, I have some other business. Court will be starting in probably about 15, 20 minutes. Uh, go ahead and mingle, um, and I will be back to you when we officially start the proceedings.
Okay, thank you.
As you look around the room, you notice there is also several other people um, that kind of, when you look around, they kind of catch your gaze. Um, you notice there is a rather large older lady, and you would know her as Miss Opal. And then there is a younger lady who is blonde. And they're not all in a group all on their own. They're all in their own little cliques of like three to four other people, um, which you know her as Coco Duquette.
That name sounds familiar. She in the book.
She is in the book. Actually, all these people are in the book.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah, not that my character knows, but sounds like it's some pretty important people.
you see one person who's kind of lounging back on a Shea lounge, kind of just not. This one person doesn't really meet your eyes at all. She's smoking a cigarette. She has very pale skin, and she almost looks like uh, the skin is just rebelling off of her bones. Um, and you know her as Pearl Chastain.
Sexy.
She does not, like I said, meet your eyes. She appears not to be taking notice of anything going on in her area. That is not the window. That is the window I wanted.
But somewhat antiquated looks sounds like.
You've heard rumors that she's probably the oldest vampire in the city. But
Really?
can you really believe rumors?
Hmm. Older than the prince?
Older than the prince.
Wow.
Just because you're an old vampire doesn't mean you are more powerful
Hmm.
or have the political clout.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
All right. And as you're looking around the room, and it sounds like you're remaining pretty silent, that
Yeah.
is when you notice the entrance of a really large gentleman. Jim, describe your character.
Clancy Brown. He's easily 7.5 feet tall. He's a very large man. He's currently kind of scowling for some reason, like he's having a really bad day.
Yes.
Um,
He's being
Also,
he's being led in by another person, which is he's not in like cuffs or tied up or anything, but he is being led by this gentleman, which all of you know as Donovan. He is the prince's sheriff, which is a really kind of a positive spin on enforcer. The sheriff, makes sure that the prince's will and rules don't get broken.
what have I been told about why I am being held here?
You haven't been told much. All you know is that you had an altercation at a church, and correct me if I get any of this wrong, in which
Killed the priest.
You accidentally killed the priest, or maybe you purposely killed the priest. Which is completely up to you. At which point you were subdued. You noticed that while in the killing of the priest, it was very much easier than you expected it to be. Mechanically wise, you were boosted from your unlife.
Right, and he was human.
And he was human. Or at least...
And smelled really tasty.
Yes, or a very low-level ghoul. But you do notice that you were subdued by a group that kind of showed up immediately after the killing of the priest. And they didn't have much trouble in subduing you.
Right. Okay.
And then you were kind of brought here. So
that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know how much you knew. So
yeah, no, you're like fresh. You're like super fresh. So you haven't been really told what to expect or what's going on. You've probably been held for a day somewhere in the dark, obviously. And then that night, so you probably killed the priest the previous night. And then when the sun went down, you were collected and brought to this art gallery where all you see is a bunch of hoity-toity people admiring some art, and then you're led up to this loft area, and you can see that there are about like half a dozen cliques of little socialized circles, all kind of, again, socializing. And at the very end of the room, you can see, like I said, there's like it's like a mini stage, really.
Right. And so this relatively small man is obviously much stronger than me. He's
yes.
controlling me easily.
Yes. Like he knows how to bend your wrist, just so.
Mm-hmm. Nope. No, I just wanted to make sure I had it all clear in my head.
Okay.
So, thank you. What is this place? Who are all these people? Are they the ones that are going to judge me?
You're not being judged, but for your sake, I wouldn't be so aggressive, says Donovan.
Simply wish to know what is happening.
Well, you are attending court.
Yes, for killing the priest. Correct? Yes, I'm misunderstanding on purpose.
I know. You are new, aren't you? You see.
You
Do you know what you are?
am a priest, or I was. I don't know what you are.
You're more than a priest now.
Smell wrong.
You're gonna find that is a common thing.
I don't understand why I smell you at all. Why won't anybody tell me what has happened to me?
What do you remember?
I nearly died. The small woman told me she would let me live. And then I woke up. I went back there to find out what happened, and I don't know, I became angry at the priest.
You became angry?
It's
Or did the
smells
priest have
good.
something you wanted?
What is wrong with me? Why did I want... What is wrong? What has God done to me? He's loud again.
You other two can kind of like. Donovan was leading David kind of past you, and so when David started talking, Donovan kind of stopped to answer his question, and now they're having this conversation kind of almost in front of you, so you can hear pretty much this whole conversation. If any of you want to jump in at any time. Oh, God.
Why not, Brian?
Yeah, Brian. I mean, you could even say any witty things like, "Oh, they're making him pretty big now." No. um.
I'll say to
That's what she
kind of,
said.
Yeah.
I'll kind of say as an aside to my sire, is that an effect of the embrace, or was he that big before?
Oh, darling, I think he was that big before.
Oh, wow.
You
I mean, there
notice,
is human
David.
variation, but
There. Likewise, you can also hear these people talking about you, and they seem to be talking kind of disconnectedly, like you're an object and not quite a person. At least
Well,
that's
and also I imagine with my aspects, I'm hearing them very clearly.
all right. Very true.
So don't speak of me as if I'm not here.
Oh,
sorry.
oh, Rachel's sire, whose name I can probably just look it up.
Lydia.
Lydia kind of steps in and says, "Donovan, does this man not know what he is?" She looks to you and says, "You've been embraced. You are one of us now."
One of what? Why will you not say the words? Are you ashamed of what you are?
We are not ashamed. In fact, we celebrate who we are. You are a child of the night.
Poetic bullshit. What does that mean?
Poetic. Why? Why do you wear the frock of a religious man?
Because I was one.
And you speak to me of poetry. That is poetic justice right there.
Well, colloquially, I think you're a vampire now, basically, or do we not use that term? But I don't know the etiquette yet, but
Yes, scientifically, I guess you are. Crap, I don't know what the Spanish word would be. I mean, not Spanish, Latin. If there is even a Latin word.
I don't know that there is.
Where is your sire? Lydia says. And then Donovan stops you from answering, or stops like the question at the very end. It's like, that's what we're going to find out tonight. That is why court is being held.
You wish to take him like you did my sister and myself?
Take what? What do you mean? Take.
That's why you want to know who my father is.
No,
I'm leaning in.
Make him a child of the night.
I'm leaning into my side at this point and saying, he's not real bright, is he?
She leans back
Kind
to you.
of whispering.
She leans back to you and say, "Most of the big guys are."
He glares at them and growls.
Even though that she's whispering, she like perks up and says, doesn't say anything, but she like kind of notices that you notice.
Oh, by the way, just so you know, in the role-playing sense, with the Protean, everybody who tries to sense my blood sees me as an equal at minimum.
Okay.
Because of that sense. Just so you know, if they're like trying to figure out my blood power, so to speak.
Okay.
I know that's the Protean thing. So,
If you'll pardon my interjection, what they mean, sir, is Sire is the one who turned you into a vampire, not your actual blood father, but weird terminology. I know I'm new myself, but
Yes, she is correct. Lydia says, "We're not talking about your biological father. We're talking about the person that sired you into your unlife."
she was a small woman.
Small woman.
She ran with other ones of us, a group. She gave me a choice to survive or not. That's all I know.
And you took her up on her offer, huh?
Wouldn't you?
Oh, that's a story for another time. But we all have our choices. And obviously you've made yours without knowing what you were getting into.
I think that's obvious now.
does anyone really? I mean, but I guess that's a question for another time, too.
So you all chose to be this? To be children of the night, as she puts it?
Marcel's sire says, most 100%.
Yeah.
Didn't entirely know what it would be, but yes, kind of. I made a choice.
It was that or I die a slow death from lung cancer. What would you have chosen?
Wow.
To live.
To live. Donovan turns to you.
No.
I'm afraid
This is a form of living.
I'm afraid you're not among the living anymore.
Then she lied to me.
Well, you're only medically dead, not. I mean, you're moving, obviously, and talking and thinking, but.
Say it, Brian.
And then Lydia steps in, like practiced, like this is like she's done this before. What she's trying to say is that you are not metaphysically dead.
I understood her words clearly enough.
Oh. My apologies. She takes a step back.
Well, it does not matter. It seems I am to be punished for what you have made of me.
I don't think, Donovan, this is Donovan. I don't think you're
Right.
here to be punished yet.
He didn't say anything.
Because unless it's particularly egregious, ignorance is not a crime.
There's that.
Now,
Sorry, this seems very strange.
I suppose it would be.
So nobody explained any of this to you? Nothing?
No. I woke up in a culvert. I was thirsty. That's all I remember.
What
Unless
is
she
this?
explained it to me while I was sleeping.
Lydia speaks up. What is this sister you speak of?
Horrifying.
She met one of you,
One of us.
and he
So you are aware of us?
was sort, I suppose. I didn't understand what had happened to her, only that she seemed to be cursed.
Oh.
Somebody here seemed to have done it to her.
One of us, and she kind of motions around the room without like getting anyone else involved. So you're saying
Right.
your sister's sire could be in this very room?
Perhaps. All I know is that it was someone who was the line of, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, Longinus. Does that make any sense to anyone?
It does, in fact. That is a order of sorts among us that believe that a particular Roman soldier was cursed to be a vampire.
Yes, and to fear the sun and to need blood. And he kind of looks down when he realizes what he's saying.
Yeah. But that is only one story. There are several others. And she kind of motions to Rachel and Marcel, who are of a different order with a kind of different origin story for vampires. But one never knows because the many years of history have clouded such things.
Yeah, the strange thing is, wonder if I should even say this. Well, talk to me later about this.
You talking to
Maybe.
Lydia or are you talking to David?
Hey, David,
All right.
I'm not real sure how sensitive, you see, the kindred, as they call themselves, don't seem to keep very good histories, if you catch my meaning, despite living, well, forever.
Oh, my suspicion, and this is Lydia again. I think somebody has this information, but they're not sharing it with us. But I'm more of a scientific mind, and knowledge is power and all.
A scientist vampire. Interesting.
Well, there's gotta be some way to explain it. And I'm not gonna say anymore, 'cause, some seem to be particular about what you say. I kinda say in a low voice.
Which
I hear clearly, just like you.
Yep, exactly.
We can whisper to each other all the time and no one will hear us.
And
You
see
know,
each other's auras.
I'm guessing that, like, strangely, you have a feeling like you can crystal clearly hear his whispering, even though you know it wasn't meant for you.
Hmm.
Like some of these powers that you're kicking in are
Weird.
are
Yeah.
weird, and you're like suddenly like you're kind of more alive than you were when you were alive. Kind of.
Lot to sort out as a young immortal.
Oh no.
Let the angst begin.
Yes. Be an angsty large man.
An emo giant.
Emo giant. All right. So with that, you can see that Philip is clapping his hands in the air, trying to draw attention of the crowd. And he says, "Attention, everyone! Attention! The court proceedings are about to begin. If everyone would take your places." You can see that the little cliques are kind of pushing to the sides of the room, leaving the middle of the room an empty space where stands Donovan and David. They don't move to the side of the room, or if David does, Donovan stops him.
I don't without his direction.
All right.
I'll look to Lydia like, where is my place here?
With me.
Okay.
And she like with the other people in the room, she moves to the side of the room, again leaving a very clear center of the room empty. Philip speaks up and he says, "All right, tonight's session of Prince Vidal's court is in session. Tonight's business is this gentleman," and he points towards David, "whose sire seems to have embraced him without following the etiquette for such things. Thus breaking, and I'm gonna fail. There is 3 rules.
Whatever the formal word for the masquerade is.
Well, I think that's one of the rules.
Considering she is of the opposing
Right.
faction, I'm sure she doesn't care.
Traditions. Which is the breaking of the second tradition of progeny. A sire cannot sire another No, I take that back. The second tradition, progeny, a sire, another at the peril of both yourself and your progeny. If you create a child, the weight of it is on your. The weight is on you to bear. And he looks at you, David. I believe that you were embraced without your full consent. Is that true?
No. I was embraced without full understanding.
But not consent. I mean, with consent.
I agreed to it so that I would live.
So where is your sire now?
Do not know. I don't know who she is. I was attacked by a number of young men. The parish where you found another group of young people came and threatened them. And while I lay bleeding, she offered me life. I accepted.
Very well. Or, yes, very well. The first thing that you should learn is that there are very important traditions that we must uphold. Else, you will put the community in danger. Not knowing, through your ignorance or lack of knowledge, which is the same thing, I lost my train of thought. I can't speak like this. That you must try to adhere to. Do you understand?
You have rules for my existence. I understand.
Alright. Well, you have broken one of those rules.
I killed.
No, it is okay to kill. But the way you went
Genuinely look shocked.
the way you went about it is of more importance. You see, and you will soon learn that you will need the living to sate your hunger. Do you
Don't
know
understand.
you're a vampire?
Yes, I'm cursed to drink their blood, but I did it wrong.
The priest that you killed was one of the prince's ghouls. A ghoul is a mortal that is aware of vampires and seeks to become one. But no,
Oh.
the gift is not given freely.
So there are people
Unlike-
that actually
unlike
want
your
this.
Well, it is God's will. You notice that
He starts laughing uproariously.
you notice as you start
No one's
laughing,
joining.
Philip looks to the prince, who has not said a word as of yet, who is just kind of watching this whole affair.
God's word, huh? I have spoken God's word. I don't remember drinking blood being one of those things. The damned and the cursed drink blood. David might not live very long. I might have chosen the wrong path.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Philip looks kind of distraught. The prince Vidal motions for him to move aside, and he joins the other vampires at the side of the room, leaving only Donovan and you in the center of the room. followed by the cold gaze of Prince Vidal. And he looks at you and he says, "But aren't we all God's children, cursed or not?"
I used to think so.
Uh,
But why would he let his children suffer so, as my sister did?
to teach them a lesson, of course. For who is more respectful and more learning of the ways than through suffering?
Trying to turn suffering into what? Holiness? Ennoble what has happened to us?
And how do you see it? Being once, or pardon if I get this wrong, a former man of the cloth?
God has forsaken us.
Oh, well,
He's lied to us.
the Ordo Dracul would certainly like to think so.
I don't know of this order.
You have much to learn, but that is not my job to teach you. That is the job of your sire, which is the business that we are going to hopefully come to some form of agreement tonight.
I look around the room. I definitely don't see her, obviously.
She's not here.
Yeah. She's smart.
It is your sire's responsibility to teach you the ways. But being a man of God myself, even though you are having a crap, can't think of the word.
Crisis of faith.
Crisis of faith, yes. Even though I can see that you're having a crisis of faith, perhaps you can see clearly one day, and that merely the pain and the trauma that you're suffering will clear.
So you come to terms with it.
Well, it's either that or you die permanently.
He doesn't look at him.
Oh, you get me wrong if you think you're going to die by my hands. Or by Donovan's hands. There are many threats in this world. And you are going to become aware of them quickly if you continue in your current path.
I don't even know what the road is that I'm following.
Right. Well. Is there a Rachel Rosencrantz in the building? And a Marcel Lachance?
At your service?
Yes, sir. Prince?
Do you step forward?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I understand that the two of you are a little more aware than our colleague here?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Marginally, yes, sir.
And I believe your name is David Covenant. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, I wish that you three track down David's sire and bring her to me.
I look at the other two, see their reactions to it.
Well, I suppose it shall be done, sir.
Why do you choose us, per se?
Per se, I want to see of what value to the community you have. He
Hmm.
says that very coldly, by the way.
Okay. Oh yeah. I guess it shall be done. Do you have any information for us to go on at all?
Yes. Unfortunately, I do. Because, well, there's a gentleman that you should seek out in the French Quarter. He goes by the name of. That is not where I want to go. Antone Savoy.
Tom Savoy.
In fact, you may know him as Lord of the French Quarter.
Is he one of us?
He is one of us. But he refuses to be part of this court. And unfortunately, I cannot make him.
Right.
I didn't hear his first name when I started writing. What's his
It's,
first name?
it's Antone.
Anton. Thank you.
Yes.
So I'm free to leave.
You're free to travel in my domain with these two, Rachel and Marcel. You are not to leave New Orleans.
Had no intention of it.
Until which time I can deem you trustworthy.
Does that go for all three of us?
Do you say that, or you just...
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily apply to you two, but I think your sires would have something to say about that.
Right.
As they are responsible for you. Think about that before you make any... He definitely does pause. Any rather loud shenanigans.
Shenanigans aren't really my thing.
Yes, I had not planned on any, sir.
Well, you never know what happens.
David's actually just smirking. I was planning shenanigans.
Do you have any more questions?
None
Where
at
do we
present.
find this guy? This Antone. French Quarter, understand. Is there more?
Just go to. He seems very
Like, why am I talking to
annoyed.
these peasants?
He seems kind of annoyed by the answer that he's giving you. Just go to the French Quarter and ask for him. Not annoyed that he's answering it to you, like he's
He doesn't
answering
like
your
him.
question. He doesn't like him. He just like doesn't really want to know what. Well, I mean, he doesn't actively want to know about him.
Right. Got it.
Right, then I suppose we will do that.
And
Is there
Shall we?
someone else we should ask so we do not bother you, sir?
you can check in with Donovan. Donovan, give him your contact information. Yes, my sire. You two that have been around for a little bit know that his reference to sire isn't because he's a prince, but because he's actually his sire.
Mm.
Is he, like, give us a card or something? Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, he's basically all right. Well, all right. The prince says, "All right, that tonight's business has been concluded," and he gets up. The prince gets up and his entourage and leaves, leaving behind some other people. Most of the other court members are still there, but Donovan turns to you guys and he reaches into one of his pockets and produces a burner phone for each of you. So you'll find my number in the contacts. I suggest you use these phones as they're disposable and people will have a hard time tracing them.
I see. Thank you, sir.
He just shoves it in his pocket impatiently.
Will this be dangerous, since many threats were spoken of?
It could be. He turns to you, David, and he said, "You said your sire had some other people with her?"
Yes. I never asked you how you wanted to describe them, because I assume that they're part of that. What is it? Is it a voodoo faction?
I don't remember.
I had the impression in my mind that they were like the opposing faction in New Orleans, so they were kind of like, harassing the priest faction that was under the prince.
All right.
What was the name of them?
Yeah.
Let me see. I'll find it.
Talking about that satanic group.
No, well,
I don't think they were
there's
satanic.
a lot of different. I know what you're talking about. There's three major political groups in New Orleans. There's the Prince's Group, which holds power. There's Lord of the French Quarter, which is Antone Savoy, and then there is the voodoo guy, and his name escapes me.
Find it myself.
Baron Cimetière.
Yep, that guy. Baron Cemetery. Or Cemetery. Yep. And they're his group.
What page was that one on?
It is on page 2.
Oh, I found it. Never mind. Yep, I found it. Yeah, the Circle of
Lyle's
the Throne
group?
guys. So I had the impression, but I didn't run it by you, obviously, because I was waiting for you to say it. Like, maybe like Lydia Kendall or something. Because she was Gangrel, but somebody from his faction that was basically kind of higher up that was just hanging out with them because she was bored and wanted to see what they were going to do to these guys.
Okay.
But I left it open as wide as I could so that you could tell me. I don't even know how to describe her.
That's okay. I'll fill in the blanks.
Honk, honk.
Well, she. To answer your question about threats, it's quite possible. Especially if she doesn't want to talk to the prince.
Well, forgive my newness. It's plain to see they don't exactly like each other. Is there anyone else we should be worried about there?
Not to my knowledge, there isn't.
Well, that's good, I guess.
Always
Um,
ask this many questions.
well, I like to get to know what I'm getting into. And you, well, I hate to assume just because, you know, you're
Yes,
pretty, large. Can you handle yourself in a fight?
I
I'm
used to
talking to
think
David.
so. Recently, I've had to adjust my thinking. I look at Donovan significantly.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's a little bit, what's the term? Well, more powerful.
I have been overpowered by two tiny women in the last couple of weeks. Needless to say, that's slightly surprising to me.
Are you looking at Donovan again?
I was looking at Rachel.
Well, vampires are like that, I guess.
Donovan looks at you and is like, "That's kind of." Uh, I can't think of. I mean, I know the word. I can't pronounce it. I mean, I can pronounce it, but when I think of the way it's spelled, I want to pronounce it the way it's spelled.
Let's spell it.
Misogyny.
So
It was not misogynistic.
That's kind of misogynistic of you. I mean, this is Donovan speaking to David, not Jamie speaking
Right.
to Jim.
Yeah.
You might find
House.
you might want to open up your worldview a little more than thinking that little women are not threats.
That's what I'm saying. There was a time when even most men were not something that I overly worried about wrestling with. Now I've been overpowered by two women that barely come up to my chest. I have no illusions about how powerful I am anymore.
Well, you might find someone with the willpower will fight way stronger than you expect them to.
Well, and it seems that vampire muscles don't really work the same way, so, yeah, without getting into any details, I'm still learning myself, but yeah. Size doesn't entirely matter.
Just so you're
Could
aware,
help, but
though, there are other threats than fellow vampires. I'm just
I
speaking in
keep.
general. I don't think you're going to encounter them, but they do exist.
Well, I guess if
Criminal
vampires
element.
exist, why not?
I mean,
Well,
there are reasons.
werewolves.
There are reasons we have rules to stay hidden.
Are we aware of werewolves and mages and things like that, or are we too new to even be aware of that stuff?
I would think that your worldview has changed to the point where it wouldn't be a surprise if you learned of them. Unless your character backstory specifically names something like that, I'm going to say you don't personally have knowledge of that. But if it ever comes in game, you would be more understanding of it
Right.
than say like a human. Um, as a mechanical note, um, mages when they cast spells, uh, if they cast them with vampires present, they don't suffer the penalties as if they were casting them in front of uh, normal people.
Hmm. That's weird.
I don't know how much you remember about the mage game, but mages
Not
bend
much.
reality, and reality generally doesn't like to be bent. So that if you have like a witness present that is not magically active, reality tends to strike back a little harder.
Okay.
And
Okay.
That's solid quantum theory right there.
to the point where if you cast a big old spell and it, like in front of a large crowd of, normal people, uh, you're going to have a really difficult time controlling it, and you could actually suffer ramifications for doing so.
Hmm.
So it's like Shadowrun, and it's dependent on people believing that it can happen.
Yes and no. It's more like
Okay.
people. The way Mage describes it is you have the awakened and you have sleepers. Sleepers are what they call non-magical people, and you're living in the awakened world, and the sleepers tend not to believe in magic, which is correct. It influences your magic and makes it more difficult. But if they witness it, their reality. Yeah, you're kind of right, but more harsher and more so than Shadowrun.
Interesting.
But vampires are supernatural beings, so they don't apply.
Have to get to the point where Jamie's running one game per month of Vampire, Shadowrun, Mage, and
Sure. That's why I like this character sheet. So when earlier tonight when you said, "Oh, I could have just used all this downtime to make a new character sheet," I'm like thinking in the back of my head, "Are you gonna make all the new character sheets?"
So I just found out, by the way, in the settings,
Yeah, you can.
I can actually mark off Giant,
All right.
just so you know.
Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but this one character sheet, you can go into the settings and choose, or maybe I can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could choose.
I can choose
right?
which game.
First edition Vampire Requiem.
No,
Werewolf.
what setting actually I'm using.
Stop changing my character sheet.
Oh, whoops.
It looks like we can click on them.
Yeah. I'm messing up, Jim. Anyways, I'm
Yeah,
sidetracking.
play with your own sheets.
Right. All right. Anyways,
Right.
moving on. Yeah. So there are other threats other than vampires. There are hunters. misguided mortals that think they need to hunt us.
Well, I can't entirely we claim them, but
And David gets out a pen. And where do you find them? I think I found out what group I'm joining. What's that group that like hates vampires? That's
Oh, that's
I can't remember the name of it.
7
13, I think it is, or
or whatever.
7, I think.
7. Yeah, because
Yeah.
Barrel's blood. There's two
Belial's
antagonistic.
blood.
Yeah, there's two antagonistic vampire groups. There's like 7 and Barrel's blood, or whatever it's pronounced.
I think it's 7 where I was talking about.
Yeah, 7 is the one like anti-vampire. They're vampires that fight vampires.
Yeah.
And then the other one is a bunch of like Satanist, demon worshiper kind of individuals.
What you want? 'Cause a vampire is free. You are a vampire.
That sounds like a pirate shanty.
It is
Oh, all right.
Lazy Town.
Oh, Lazy Town. Gotcha.
There we go. We figured out what covenant David's going to end up in.
You can switch covenants.
I'm unaligned right now.
I know you're on the line. I'm talking about the other two, or you, David.
Though if your sire is who you think it could be, you too might end up in the Ordo Dracul.
Let's see. I don't know how this is going to play out.
But yeah.
I wouldn't worry about it. They value intelligent characters.
Hey, now. That's rude. My guy's just confused. Nobody told him anything.
Right, so I guess our job is to find this sire of his and try to keep him and us out of trouble.
Yes.
I'll do my best, sir.
Stay out of trouble. Because if you see me, you're in trouble.
We're seeing you now.
You know what I mean.
You guys say I'm stupid. Well,
Suppose we should be off, if
Yes.
by Your Majesty's leave.
You have the entire night ahead of you.
Well, daylight's burning, or nightlight's burning,
Lights burning.
whatever the hell these people say.
Right.
Right.
David rolls his eyes and starts walking out.
Go on, you better catch up with him. Don't. If he disappears on you, it's going to be on your shoulders.
He's over
Right.
7 feet tall. I don't think he could disappear too easily.
Where did he
Anyway,
go?
I follow him out.
I'll kind of look at my sire.
I don't think he could Oh, damn.
I'm gonna guess you have your own stuff to do, ma'am. So I guess I should just go follow him.
Are you talking to Lydia?
Yeah.
This is all you.
All right. Well, I'll see you later. I'll try not to get killed.
Yeah, please don't get killed.
Didn't think I'd be ending up a babysitter this young myself, but oh well. And I guess I'll go catch up. So, you were a priest before? What denomination? as I
Catholic.
catch up to him before I do. Ah, okay.
That's not what
No,
I-
Protestant. Was I Protestant? I don't remember. I think he was just Protestant. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
I gotta admit, I don't know my religious denominations all that well.
It's all Christianity.
Yeah, it's all Christian mumbo jumbo.
Well, it wouldn't matter to me, but and I kind of whisper because I'm not sure who else is listening at the moment. The that prince is rather Catholic, if you catch my meaning.
I caught his meeting.
Yeah, he's probably better I don't say, but seems like you got good hearing.
I suppose.
I mean,
He's being difficult. Yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
mean, I mean, I don't mean this in a patronizing way or anything. I mean, sometimes it seems like, well, vampires seem to manifest these weird powers, and God, if this were me 2 months ago, I would have said, what's this crazy asshole on about? But seems vampires sometimes get these powers, and enhanced perception seems to be one of them. I guess I ended up with that, but seems like you did, maybe.
Oh, so? I heard you all talk about how stupid I am. That is what you're talking about. He looks at
I
Brian.
didn't.
He looks down at the ground like, don't say anything.
Well, there's a difference between stupid and ignorant. I would say ignorant, as we all were and still mostly are. Doesn't sound like your sire gave you any favors in that regard.
Suppose so.
Once-
Listen, I'm not ungrateful that you're all here to help me find my sire and all, but I'm a little bit overwhelmed.
What do you think they're going to do to her when we find her?
You would know better than I, wouldn't you? Perhaps they're going to throw her a feast. I don't know. Vampires like virgins, especially.
Well, a feast of sunlight, maybe, but well, I hear some vampires do. Can't entirely see why, but yeah, I don't know. They seem rather they don't exactly have sentencing guidelines, if you get what I mean. Don't really seem to have the rule of law or democracy or whatnot. Rather backwards people, if you ask me.
So we're going to find her, and you don't really know what exactly is going to happen to her. She might come with us happily because we're just there to invite her over, or she's going to try and kill us because we're dragging her to her death. We don't know at all what you're saying.
Good point. Yeah, that's about right, I guess. And I guess we kind of have to because, well, it's good to be the prince, I guess, they say.
I don't remember him
I'm
putting a
right.
time limit on it,
True,
saying
I
we
guess.
had to do it all in one night.
I guess we do have hundreds of years potentially, but probably better sooner than later.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
So what do you know about this group that thinks that they come from Roman soldiers? You know any of them?
Not a ton myself, only what my sires said. They're can't even remember how it's pronounced. Lancinea. You'd think
That
I'd
would
know Latin a
be
little
yeah.
better,
We're gonna be
Lancia Sanctum.
pronouncing some weird stuff. Where the hell is that?
The Lancia Sanctum. Is that it?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
See, the order that we belong to believe that vampires descended from Vlad Dracula himself.
Well, only some of them, but yeah, his group is well, I said he's rather Catholic, so are they. And
They have
it's,
dogma.
but they have particular beliefs that basically the old Roman soldier who killed Jesus, he was the first vampire.
Cursed for killing God's only son.
Basically, yeah, and they seem to think they have some divine purpose to punish wicked humans or some such. I'm not a specialist in this, and I've learned it's better not to say what I think, usually.
By the way,
Well, I didn't.
the prince is a member of that sanctum. I mean, covenant.
Yeah.
That's just lovely.
Yep.
So, would that mean that whoever cursed my sister is one of his people?
Not necessarily. They could be, or they might not be. It's, for lack of a better word, it's kind of a one of several political, but kind of cultural groups. It's goddamn complicated, these parts. Might be from a different political group, is what I'm saying, and they may not exactly like each other, or even agree on where vampires came from. Violently so. Borders on religion sometime. Makes me wonder, why the hell did I agree to this? But you do what you gotta do, I guess. And what we gotta do is find this guy, this sire, and apparently this person we need to talk to is a kind of a political rival of the prince's, from what I understand. Not sure how he would know about this, other than maybe he keeps a good sense of the goings on in the French Quarter, but where were you attacked or turned or whatever?
That's where I was picked up.
Uh,
I could take you to it.
I'm gonna say your events happened in the neighborhood of Lakeview.
Okay. Hmm.
I was planning on going there anyway. I could show you.
I think we should stick to the mission at hand first.
I guess. Well, should I go get my car? If do you? Sorry to make a point. That's probably rude, but do you have trouble fitting in most cars, David?
Depends on the car.
As you walk up to the compact car that
I look at it.
that Marcel drives. I mean, not Marcel. Rachel drives.
I think the answer is pretty obvious.
Okay, so it's going to have to be a compact.
Well, I mean, did you get the compact car? Or did you get it like a regular?
So a mid-sized regular car is cost 2. I wasn't sure, would I be restricted to just the
No, no. If you
compact
want a
car
regular size
or
car, you can have a regular size car.
okay.
It's just
Yeah,
not
I
going to have
was thinking
armor
of
and
regular
machine guns, and
cars. Right.
it's not going to have rigger
Not
gear.
yet. I'll
No,
need to fix that.
no rigger gear.
No rigger gear.
Gotta get me a video cassette recorder and
A video cassette recorder.
a VCR.
Oh, right. My bad.
Well, a car like this,
I could flip this car. It's too small.
okay, I guess we're walking then.
But you
Alright,
guys could drive and I could meet you there.
I guess.
No,
Kind of looks at him
we'll
like.
stay together.
Seems,
We're kind of responsible for you right now.
oh,
Sure, I wouldn't tell him if you don't.
pretty strong. I figure they could find out.
New Orleans, by the way, is not a very big city. It's
Right, yeah.
very, very well compact.
David barely fits in it.
Yeah. In fact, you take up the entire arts district.
Yep.
He's getting larger.
All right, let's walk, I guess.
Nice.
So
nice
do you
control.
two know how to fight?
I'm more of a lover than a fighter myself.
So no.
My
I've never tested it, really.
well,
Probably not.
I know my way with a knife, and my
I
my
need to
sire keeps insisting I learn, but
I
can't
need
say I've learned
throw in
much.
a third-party NPC character so I can make comments.
What? Mostly you just seem to play your character.
Shut up.
No, talk through your character. That's what he said.
Yeah.
But I know which way the knife goes and exactly where the heart is and the carotid artery and all that. It's just getting the knife there.
Wait a minute.
The hard part.
That makes David stop cold.
He's like, that's very,
And he like
very
he
clinical
starts
of
feeling
you.
his chest. He's like, my heart's not beating. I'm not breathing.
Welcome to the embrace.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you are medically dead, like I said. No blood, no. Not sure if the brain works. No.
Is that another
lungs
joke?
working.
Another
No,
dumb guy joke.
that's not a joke at all. I mean, you could even cut yourself open or poke your heart out, and you'd be mostly fine.
Just don't get staked in the heart. That's not a great situation.
Yeah, I mean, if you get your body all torn up, then yeah, that's gonna kill you. But
That happened to you guys a lot.
Not yet.
no, but I've done some investigation. I guess that sounds kind of creepy now that I say it. I should probably say I'm a surgeon by trade, or I was. I'm kind of on medical leave right now on account of being dead, but I had a lot of questions that needed answering about how
Wait.
we're dead and still moving.
So you're still a practicing doctor. like we can still hold jobs.
Technically, yes. I mean, nobody knows we're vampires, and we're not supposed to tell anyone. That's one of the laws. But theoretically, if you can do the job without getting out in the sunlight or anything, then yeah, you can. Just hard to do.
See, that's interesting. Another time. So, where are we going to find this person? We're just going to ask around. You know, people there that we're supposed to ask, since we're not supposed to let people know about us. How do we know who to talk to?
That's a good question.
That doesn't mean you can't use your names. That just means don't like rip somebody's
Huh?
throat out. Is
No, I know that.
all
I know
right,
that.
all right.
Well, two things. I mean, yeah, it ain't a real good lead, but they said we should ask for Antoine Savoy, and second, well, another thing, we seem to have a good sense of who is and isn't one of us. Did you feel that kind of tingle or thrill, or that's a lot more positive than it actually is, but kind of get a sense of all those other people in the room being
Wrong.
kind of like that when you entered?
Yeah, they seem off
Yeah,
and
we
dangerous.
we can kind of tell. They have fancy pants words for calling it, but basically it's the pheromones or something. I'm sure it's not pheromones because we're not giving those off. We're dead, but we can tell.
Yeah. I think it's more mystical than scientific, but yeah.
Well, that just means you need to investigate it more and figure out how to measure it.
Hmm.
We just need the tools. So, speaking of jobs, am I remembering right? You're a professor, aren't you, Marceau?
I was.
I'm
I
not
gave
still
that life
working,
up.
or ah,
No, I gave that life up. So I can focus more on my duties with the Order Dracul and, well, I'll just come right out and say it, my hedonistic lifestyle.
Bum chicka wow
well,
wow.
dead and loving it, eh?
Dead and
Might as
loving it.
well live it up, I guess. And I guess you,
Numbs the pain of solitude that comes with being one of us, at
Wait,
least temporarily.
our hearts don't beat. How do we?
Oh boy.
How do you? You
You
know.
can concentrate and focus your blood into certain areas of your body
yeah,
if you
you
need
can
to.
kind of use your muscles, except I'm not sure if you're actually using your muscles, but
David's gaze kind of turns inward for a moment.
and it's not
Oh.
exactly. I'm not sure it's
Can we
not
have
technically
babies?
blood anymore. I'm still wondering how we metabolize regular blood into this vitae stuff. I mean, it ain't ATP or anything like that. It's not like we turn glucose into ATP, so, or have organs that do it. So, how does it happen? But it
Yeah.
happens.
Again, it's one of those mystical things that we don't understand yet.
Yeah, because these people never bothered to figure out, apparently.
Well, we might not have the technology available yet.
I guess.
we're still
About this
heading
time-
northwest.
About this time, you are crossing through the downtown section of New Orleans, and you're passing over into the French Quarter.
Okay.
I'm gonna look for a police station. They'd be open all night, and they might know who this guy is.
Good point.
A police station in the French Quarter?
Yes.
Well, it might depend on whether they're one of us, but not a bad idea.
All right, make a.
Make a.
Is this
Make
a roll?
Yes, it's going to be an intelligence and investigate.
All of us, or just David?
Well, David seems to be taking a turn
Oh,
from the direction of your travel, and he seems to be looking for something. So, unless any of you ask him what he's looking for.
David, where are you going?
Looking for this Antone guy.
Right, but you suddenly veered off in a different direction.
Well, it's not a lot open this time of night. I figured the police station would be a place to look.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think I
Oh,
see one that way. No, I don't.
And try to take a look out. Does it automatically do the penalty for being untrained?
It should.
Looks
Yeah.
like it's.
Oh, cool.
You might say David is not an investigator.
Can I roll now?
Sure.
Neither am I. Oh,
Marcel
Just
knows.
one success.
He's been to the police station before.
There's that incident with the prostitute.
Sure. Yeah.
and-
Sure. Yeah. He says, "Yeah, there's one up. You go up this street a little ways, and you take a right, and it's right there. It's a precinct house." He seems to know
Wow.
his way around the French Quarter a little.
Yeah.
Sure, I could have sworn there was one this way.
or maybe that way.
As David says underneath the glowing night sign, or the lit up sign that says New Orleans Police Department, Precinct House, Precinct 12. I think it's this way. There's cop cars parked out front.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Do you come here often?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No, there was this incident a while back with Lady of the Night, shall we say.
Well, I'm mostly meant the French Quarter generally, but
Oh,
David,
I thought you meant more specifically the police station.
I mean, kind of that. Yeah, I guess I was rather non-specific.
Yeah,
Well,
less said the better.
yeah.
All right.
It sounds like one of those three people walk into a bar jokes, you know?
Yeah.
A professor, a surgeon, and a priest walk into a police station.
Unfortunately, probably for us, when they see the big guy walk through scowling, they get their hands on their guns, kind of like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
And they ask for, guess I'm not supposed to say the name out loud, but one of us. Yeah.
You do get some funny looks as you go in to a small little waiting area with some very uncomfortable looking chairs. And then there is a desk officer behind which you can only guess to be bulletproof glass or bullet resistant glass, with a small like teller window that you can't really fit your arm through, but it's just enough to pass small items through.
Yeah, I know the kind you're talking about.
Do you approach
Like children.
No, not that small, not that big.
To feed the bone collector.
Please pass the baby through the slots.
It's got a baby slot. Just for
It's like one of those boxes you open up and you put the baby in, you close it, and they fall into the basket.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
And then you remember to take them out before they're too burned.
This is the daily sacrifice for the bone collector.
All right, I'll go to the window
All right.
when my turn comes.
There doesn't seem to be a whole lot going on. There is there's a guy. The only other occupant in the room is beside the officer, the desk officer, who is a woman, and there's a guy sitting in one of the chairs, impatiently waiting. He's really thin, and he's kind of well dressed, but well dressed as you could buy clothes from Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sitting in one of the chairs, and he's kind of like tapping his foot, like patiently waiting for something to happen. As you approach,
By the way, you know this whole police station thing is a really bad idea. You guys should have stopped me. But neither of you jumped on this to go, why would we go to the police
They
station?
probably thought-
Hey, we're
So
all
here we
newbies.
are.
We're all newbies.
So the officer looks up to David as he approaches, and you're still wearing your
Priest outfit.
priest vestment.
Dirty and
Little
dirty, cut up. I've bled in it already because they sliced me up.
All right. The officer looks up to you, and she looks at you and says, "How can we help you tonight, Father?" It is Father.
I don't know.
You are a member of the clergy?
Yes,
How can I help
I
you?
am. He kind of grits his teeth when he says it. I'm afraid I'm lost. I'm trying to find an associate of mine, and, well, I figured this was the best place to go. And none of my compatriots... No, I don't say it.
Where are you two?
We're right there with him.
All right. So you
Yeah, kind of behind off to the side. It's like we're with him, but
Not with him.
All right. I'm not sure I can help you, but why don't you explain to me your situation?
We're looking for a man named Antone Savoy. We were supposed to meet him, and I don't know how to find him.
I need.
we, well, not to speak badly of the French Quarter, but we heard things were a little bit dangerous around here, and we're a bit worried about them. Kind of whispering low enough that hopefully only David would hear. Her. Rachel kind of says, maybe this wasn't a great idea.
Right.
A little late for that now.
Ignore the name. I'm just using the character sheet. No, no one with that name was brought in tonight. I mean, how did you lose this? How did you lose your friend?
We never found him.
Oh, well, does he have a phone?
I look at the other two like they should know something. Does he have a phone?
Probably.
So you can't just like, do a search for his address or something.
So that's information I can't just give out to. Is it?
Oh, come on. Help me out, please. I'm begging you.
Make a manipulation and persuasion.
Persuasion.
What, did nobody make a face again?
Just gotta use your skill set, man. What's your skill set?
I just rolled it.
No, you got nothing.
But I did not succeed. In fact, it looks like I
Your
rolled
manipulation is a one?
miserably.
And your
Yeah.
persuasion
Yes.
is a 1? Oh, alright.
Yes.
That is not your skill set.
No, I was more thinking my presence would make, but I didn't know I'd be going in here trying to trick people, so.
Well, I mean, she's not gonna give you information.
Oh no, I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I meant like I didn't make a character that way. That's what I'm saying.
I think I will chime in. See, I'll have to select that. Okay. Manipulation persuasion, you said?
Yep.
I'll kind of chime in and say, well, he said he'd meet us about an hour ago, just down, and I'll, down the street, and I'll kind of rattle off an address. Said he'd meet us, but didn't see him there. We were getting worried. Hoped nothing had happened to him or something. And he wasn't real clear about his contact info if we didn't meet him. So, nope.
Nope.
All right, let me try something.
It's a bitch.
Listen.
It says the diva. That's the more of the social character, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Look, you seem like an honest and good person. I understand you have a job to do and you're doing what you think is right. But now, see, I'm from a group that donates considerably to the police department every year. And it probably wouldn't look good on you if this group gave less money than usual because we found that you were uncooperative.
I'm gonna give you a modifier of 1 because cops love donations. So go ahead and roll your manipulation persuasion with a modifier of 1.
Inspiration and persuasion. Oh,
I mean, that's why we all put that little sticker on the back of our car, right? That say we donated to the Policeman Federation.
So that they think we did.
So that when we get pulled over for speeding, they're like, "Oh, this guy supports us." I'll just give him a warning. Yes, Brian is a Deva.
Look at that.
A little bit different.
Yeah. We have somebody watching us. Yay. All right, Marcel, with your smooth, suave, debonair, the female officer looks up to you, and the second you start talking, the Rachel and David can automatically know that she's kind of enchanted with you. I mean, not magically enchanted with you, but just the way you're speaking and the calmness of your voice. And she says, "Oh, well, I mean, I would be happy to help you. What did you say his name was again?"
uh, Anton Savoy.
Hold on 1 second, and then she taps away on the keyboard. The monitor is not facing towards you, obviously, so you can't see what's on the screen. But after several seconds, she comes back to you and she says, "It says that he owns." I love having multiple windows, and I get lost. All right. He owns a club down the street here called blah blah. It's not blah blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
It was right there in front of me, and then I moved away. Where is it? I just had it, and now it's probably right here in front of me. Evergreen Plantation is the name of the club.
Evergreen Plantation, huh?
Yeah, I've never been there, but it sounds like a pretty high class place. I mean, there's not a lot of. We usually get a lot of bar fights in the French Quarter, but that place is. We don't get much report from that place.
Interesting. Well, you've been an absolute doll. Thank you for your assistance.
Oh, thank you. And she pushes a little piece of paper underneath the window.
Even has
The
it.
phone number, isn't it?
Yep, it is. Phone number.
Wow.
Sweet. Getting digits.
All right. So the address she gives you is actually. It's probably about a 5 to 10 minute walk from your present location. It is right in the center of the French Quarter. Like,
Okay.
I don't see it on the map.
because it's not on the map.
Where is it, Jamie?
In the
Guess it's a
center.
vampire thing.
Right here.
It's the cathedral.
It's north of the cathedral.
Mm.
Let me pick an appropriate color. Sure, it's right there in the yellow. Right on that corner.
Okay. Thank you.
As you're walking down
Not
the
that
street,
she's
as
looking
you
at me.
leave the precinct house, you can see one of the side doors open up in the waiting room, and two officers carrying between them a young woman, obviously drunk and inebriated. Her clothes are in shambles. They lead her out of this side door, and the guy that was waiting there gets up out of the chair, and he rushes over to her. She's not handcuffed or anything, but the two cops are escorting her. And as the guy gets to her, she just completely slaps him upside the face. And you leave the precinct.
Nice. I like that. I don't want to leave. I want to see more slapping.
Oh. You just stand there?
No, I was kidding.
What would that?
Wow, that was well done.
Yeah, I see you've got the bedside manner. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's a gift of mine.
Oh, it said I was no good at that.
And as you start
Hardly
walking the
know those.
streets of the French Quarter, um, it is jam packed with restaurants and bars
60
and
morsels.
nightclubs, and it is just packed with people. Um, in fact, Jim, you feel this urge starting to build in you. It's not quite a hunger pain in the sense of that you have no food.
I just gotta hope nobody starts running. It makes me want to chase them down.
It's just like, yeah, kind of. Think of like your your best comfort food you could possibly imagine, even though
Yeah, like you're not hungry, but somebody makes mac and cheese, and you're just like,
right. If that's
I got room.
if that's your thing, mac and cheese, and
Mac and
someone is
cheese.
just like making like the world's best mac and cheese, but you can't have any.
I wonder if
All this mac and cheese is for me.
Who said that? I will kill them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And-
Good.
And as you follow the directions, and you come to the evergreen plantation, you can hear the sounds of a jazz band being played inside. And the building itself is it looks ancient. And there's people on a balcony up on the second floor, and like I said, there's just people everywhere. And there's a slight hint of mac and cheese in the air.
Yep. I'm smelling around, kind of like distracted.
You guys kind of see this.
Are you thirsty, as the kids say?
What? I'm just, I don't know. It's kind of looking at people.
All right.
I feel, yeah, thirsty.
Oh, look
That's
at
a
that.
good word for it.
It is on Bourbon Street.
I love Bourbon Street steak. Sorry, I can't have
I've never
steak
been to
anymore.
New Orleans. I should probably go to New Orleans at some point in my life.
You should. That should be your next trip.
My next trip is actually Clearwater,
Clearwater where?
Florida.
Florida. See Amanda?
I'm gonna go visit Amanda in October.
Cool.
As long as
Are
the
you
world
going to
doesn't go
visit the
into,
Scientologists?
as long as the world, I hope to see the Dolly Museum, if anything.
Cool.
And we've driven by the Scientology building. It's scary.
Yeah.
And just before you walk into the nightclub, that's where I'm gonna cut it.
I
Okay.
kind of lean over to David and say, well, maybe the cathedral has some holy water if you're thirsty.
Exactly what I had. What am I saying?
You trying to kill him?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Holy water doesn't do anything to vampires.
Nope,
Doesn't?
it does not.
Oh.
Good thing to know, though.
Neither
Yeah,
is
I
garlic.
did test that, and it ain't gonna hurt you, nor our crosses.
Pew pew. All right. Well,
What'd you call me?
good game, everyone. Good game. I like the
Yes.
role playing. Chris, nice job. You talked quite a bit.
Well, I hope my accent is coming from kind of southern Indiana, maybe I've picked up a little bit of kind of Appalachian accent through proximity, but hopefully I'm not getting kind of stereotypical and obnoxious. But
No,
kind of what I'm
I,
going for.
I think you're doing fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there'll be some hurdles to jump for these first few games until we are all more comfortable